All right, you bored? You'll fire us up and we'll get good to go.
There's no flag there.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to a special meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen on September 19th, 2024. We're here for a budget-only meeting, although we may have an item or two to discuss otherwise, but mostly for budget only, okay? I'd like to start this meeting off with a pledge of allegiance, please. Everybody rise?
It's not on the agenda.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Should we sit on that side of the table and see what's behind us?
No.
Okay.
It's right there.
No, you can sit in the hall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's right in front of you.
I didn't read that. That's why I posted it.
Right.
There we
It's on my
go,
head.
thank you, Jim.
It's probably just.
Okay, up first, we'll do a review and approval of consent items. We have an AP manifest for September 17th, 2024 in the amount of $71,526.93. We have a payroll manifest for September 19th, 2024 in the amount of $68,436.90. We have tax collectors August 2024 reconciliation and the treasurer's August 2024 reconciliation. So anything anyone wants to discuss or remove? Yeah. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve as read.
A motion by Mr. Brunel,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 4-0-0. I should note that Mr. Gayton will not be with us tonight. Or is not with us tonight.
Okay, he cannot be here, he mentioned.
Okay, do we have any requests for additional items or other business? No, hearing none. Okay, any public input will occur no earlier than 5:45. We'll change that. We won't do 6:45. Hopefully we're done. Okay. Up first, we have review of the 2025 proposed budget. Okay, we have a memorandum. Review of the 2024 budget. I will read the memorandum that we have.
25.
2000, mine says 2024. Is that what you have?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's correct.
thank you. Well done. The tax cap for the 2024 budget was the first year of the 5% increase approved by Litchfield voters. This allowed the current tax budget less revenues plus veterans credit and overlay to increase a total of $247,911. Prior to the adoption of two warrant articles, health agencies for $22,350 and the Litchfield Police Department Union for $42,012, we were $136,812 under the cap. This equaled a 2.7% increase over the prior year tax. Including the warrant articles adopted, we remained $72,450 under the cap, with a total increase of $175,461 or 3.5%. Every year, our revenues are an estimate, and prior to tax setting in October, November, they are updated with actuals. This update includes revenues for the current tax year based on what has been received and what is expected through the end of 2024. Adjustments this year included $10,000 increase in projected building permit revenue, a $32,000 increase in projected interest revenue, and a reduction of $20,000 in land use change tax. This net increase of $22,000 in revenue will likely reduce the 2024 tax rate by 0.01 or 0.02% from what was estimated this last spring. Therefore, including the adjusted revenues, we will be approximately $94,450 under the 2024 tax cap, with a total increase of 3.1%.
Very good.
Okay. The 2025 proposed budget. Substantial challenges face the town Board of Selectmen and Budget Committee in the review of the 2025 budget. The 2025 budget, as proposed by department heads, represents an increase over the 2024 budget, approved budget of $679,931, or an 8.55% increase over the previous budget, including the adopted 2024 warrant articles. The 2025 tax cap at the 2023 approved rate of 5% is $255,583, which means currently the budget is $364,347 over the cap. A number of worksheets have been included in the tab titled Economics, including a link to the MS1 property valuation historical data, which is estimated for 2025 at a growth of $7,120,494. Substantially more growth than the prior year. We must caution that final utility values have not been received. We have also included a table of changes in the New England region CPI-U, a cash flow analysis for 2024, the municipal cost index, pension, NHRS, New Hampshire Retirement System estimates, and links to the updated personnel plan and the new town fee policy. Where applicable, spreadsheets and contracts have been provided as links throughout the budget. Currently, a number of items are still outstanding. These include, number one, health insurance. Number two, property, general liability, and workman's comp insurance. Number three, health agencies request. That will be a warrant article. And number four is water and hydrant costs. Up first, departmental changes. The town meeting budget had substantial decreases due to the number of elections. The legal budget was increased due to an ongoing case at the PUC. The personnel budget was increased due to the impact of the 2024 salary study and associated new wage scales. The planning department had a decrease in the number of hours for the planning assistant. We strongly recommend that the town considers a full-time land use coordinator to assist both planning and zoning. General government building budget reflects an increase in the janitorial fee, which was approved by the board earlier this year. After research of several other vendors, the propane contract has been negotiated for 2025 at a reduced rate. We also have budgeted an increase of $2,500 in the furniture line to replace chairs within the town conference room. Gasoline costs are slightly reduced and electric rates are increased by approximately 6%. The police department budget contains no salary increases due to additional positions, but a higher budget due to the return of a position which was zero funded last year within the budget committee. It was a position that had been vacant for a couple of years and they pulled it.
That was a metric,
Yeah, and now he's back, so
Now he's
by
back.
law we have to fund him.
You got it.
This budget also contains an increase of $206,709 in police vehicles, which were removed from the budget in 2023 and 2024, and have resulted in substantial repair costs for the existing vehicles in 2024. This is a priority for 2025 as we have faced situations where the minimum number of vehicles for daily use has not been satisfied due to repair time. The fire department budget reflects an increase over the prior year due to the restoration of cuts by the budget committee, contractual increases to the fire dispatch, and a request for increased per diem hours to handle calls. The highway department has increased the overtime costs for 2025, which were reduced in 2024 by the budget committee. These are emergency after-hour calls which must be responded to. Additional cost increases result from the town's adherence to the annual MS4 permit, federally required by law. The water budgets and the fire hydrant budget have not been estimated due to the pending PUC case. The sanitation budget reflects a minor increase based on current trends. The leadership team has been evaluating the budget for weeks and identified $95,270 in potential cost reductions, which we will discuss at your special budget meeting tonight. We also believe that $76,718 of costs can be absorbed by the existing 2024 budget as they are contracted items. That was a lot of reading. Thanks for keeping it short, Kim.
Good job, good job.
Okay, so, where do we want to go first?
Wanna go right to the reductions?
Sure, we can.
So the first tab, the 2025 totals, that's just gonna show you that 364,000, rounded up $348 that were over the cap.
See if I can get
Where are you at?
On the first tab, 2025 totals,
Oh, okay, at the bottom, okay.
right, and scroll down at the bottom,
See, there we
and
go.
it'll
Yep.
show you.
Okay.
And then next to that is that economics tab, which you just spoke about with all the links to all the information that we try to include everything that the budget committee has asked for in the past. So all those items in blue are links to.
Mhm.
And then we added this selectmen reductions the other day as we started to track items by department heads that we thought we could consider for potential reductions. And so the first four items are all the transfer station. And the first four of them are dollar amounts that are in the budget that he feels are directly related to recycling, and therefore do the selectmen want to consider booking those to the recycling fund instead of the general operating budget. And they're minimal. There's a tipping fee for asphalt and brick concrete, and he's just taking the percentage, a percentage of the diesel fuel, which is used for moving recycling. He thinks 60% of the annual maintenance for the compactors and the balers is related to recycling. 50% of the annual maintenance for the overhead doors is for recycling. So that's what those first items are, 800, 1,480, 510, and 250. So you're not actually reducing those costs, you're just changing the bucket that you take them from. Would not be the operating budget, it would be the recycling trust. Revolving fund.
And how does Dave feel about that? Does he feel that's gonna cripple him? Not necessarily now, but maybe down the road? If the
No.
recycling fund gets depleted?
No, we feel there's probably very minimal risk of that happening.
Okay,
It has remained healthy,
okay.
and these are really costs that are contributed to the moving or the disposing of recycling. So they probably could be, but I don't think you're at any risk of really impacting the recycling
Okay.
revolving fund.
We are here to try and trim the budget as much as, reasonably possible.
32,000.
But we still have to be able to function, so I definitely do not wanna tie a department's hands by overcutting where they shouldn't be.
And really that revolving fund is, it's bringing in the revenue from those recycling items.
Yep.
So you really wanna hit it with the costs that are directly,
Related to it?
Yeah, related to those,
We'll be all right.
that revenue.
Okay.
It's also a minimal amount of money, when you look at it, it's, you know, $3,040 total. So we remained pretty
38, 40.
conservative.
Okay. Okay,
So,
so 3,847?
$3,040.
Oh, I have 3,847. And
The
there's-
807 beneath it would be,
Oh,
is another line item.
oh, it's another line,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
So, 3,040.
yeah, would be reducing from the operating budget for those line items. There's three accounts.
Okay.
Account 695, 636, and 630.
Okay. We need a motion for the reduction.
Yes.
Anybody want-
I'll make a motion that we accept what's been recommended by the department head to reduce it by 3,040, with funds coming from the revolving fund.
We have a motion from Mr. Brunel,
I'll second that.
a second by Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The next item is sanitation wages. He had budgeted $807 for training that is required yearly by employees for DES. He feels that he can take these training from their regular hours.
That's even better.
And that's line of 120.
Yep.
Line 120.
Okay.
Reduction of
807.
807.
Okay. 807, okay. All right, we have a motion to reduce.
I make a motion to reduce for the staff.
Second?
Motion from Mr. Lynch and a second from Mr. Brunel. The motion is to reduce $807
Correct.
from sanitation staff. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
All right, and so
And
next.
thank you, Dave. Oh, I mean,
You listen to it.
And all of them wished they could have done more. It is a very tight year.
mhm.
Um,
I did good.
So, police administration. Line item 141, wages, captain overtime.
Yeah.
Although it's contractually mandated, due to the staffing level, they feel that the captain has had to have very minimal overtime. This was a line item that was in the contract when we were very low staffed.
Yep.
So the chief recommended reducing that line item by 3,705.
3705?
Any, if anything should change, and there is the need for overtime, which there hasn't been the past, few weeks,
37.
they'll take it from the normal overtime line.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think with them getting the staff back up to where it needs to be, I mean, they're almost fully staffed.
Once the
It
new
should
guy,
reduce
once the
need for it.
GI guy comes back.
He's back.
He's
I know,
back.
yeah, he just got back.
Well, there's more going on, but also,
Yeah.
as you said, if they need overtime for the captain, it'll come out of the normal overtime.
Correct.
line, won't be
Yeah,
dedicated,
Yeah,
Yep.
so, okay,
which would make sense.
yeah. And again, it's not our object to hurt them, it's
Right.
trying to get this where we can for the budget committee, okay? We have a motion for the police captain overtime line.
I'll make a motion that we accept the police chief's recommendations to reduce that line 141 by $3,705.
I'll second it.
Motion from Mr. Brunel, second from Mr. Lynch. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
The next line item is 760 PD cruiser purchase. So currently there's 3 in the budget. This is recommending reducing that by 1. We would, and also like to state that we would recommend putting that 3rd vehicle on the warrant by warrant article. And if possible, which we'll know more towards the beginning of December, taking that from unassigned.
Makes sense.
Okay, so how much is that line?
It'll be,
So the total line item is 209,
206.
I got
206,709.
You
So
wanna
you divide
remove-
by 3, right?
You'd be reducing it by 68,903.
correct, right here. 68.9 and, let's see it.
Yep.
Okay. Even I understand this.
We in no way want to state that the additional 3 vehicles aren't important. And although, we're concerned about putting them to warrant article, we would feel
Get by with
better
this.
if we could take that from unassigned, if the unassigned fund balance
Yep,
is healthy enough to do so.
okay.
Okay, so we need a motion to reduce,
So I'll make a motion that we accept the chief's recommendation to reduce line 760 from police administration by $68,903.
I'll second that.
a motion from Mr. Brunel and a second from Mr. Lynch.
So keep
All
it
those in
track.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
Okay.
Again, I think the only thing I'd say about that is, just as Kim said, it's important that we get that other car in the warrant.
Yeah.
You might as well try to get it to the warrant and keep the budget down and see what happens when you get this fund balance at the end.
But we can't buy a car this year anyway, unless it goes in from now, so it's a warrant. so.
That's true.
Okay.
And then the next item was PD software support,
Which
which,
is,
342. It's on the board.
yeah,
no,
Should be about-
line 342.
okay.
Oh, you got a small print, okay.
Which the chief recommended reducing the line from $12,035 to $6,000.
Okay.
Where is that? Is it in 4210?
It's in a different budget, it's not in administration, I think it's in.
I'm sorry, it's in
police.
police support,
Yeah,
right?
police-
Yeah,
police
I'm in
support.
there.
Line 342.
Oh, I'm not down there. as far.
It should be the first line in that line, I
Yeah.
believe.
342?
342.
The last three
345.
digits.
Oh, what do you got? Oh, get out of support, right? Get out.
It's not in police support?
No, it's
I'm in regular police.
Regular police, okay.
Yeah.
Administration.
421010. Now go to 342.
All right,
342.
there it is.
Yep.
And what do they want to do? No, I'm sorry, I was trying to find it.
6,035, he's removing it, reducing the
That
line to
IMC
6,000.
support and updates
So he's reducing it to
He's reducing.
6,000?
Yeah,
to 6,000.
okay, so,
And I can give a little background.
yeah.
The
Please.
the IMC system is the one that's been here for 30 years, it's
Mhm.
being retired. This
Okay.
is just the ongoing maintenance until we totally eliminate it.
Okay.
We're able to reduce it in half because we're able to reduce half the functions of it, so
Okay,
that's where it's coming from.
and he feels good about it, and you feel good about it, being IT?
Yeah, I pay the bills, so yeah.
Okay, all right. Again, I'm gonna ask that question on pretty much every line item. so.
Yeah, and this was a recommendation, I spoke to the chief this morning about
Okay.
this specific thing, so.
Thank you for that. So we need a motion to reduce line 342 by $6,035.
I'll make a motion to reduce that line to 6,000, whatever it is, $6,000
$6,035.
Oh, yeah, 6/7/35, I right on, yes. Thank you.
We have a motion from Mr. Lynch,
I'll second.
and a second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstained.
Abstained?
There you go, I
Oh.
was wondering why I didn't chime in. I
Okay.
have a question though, did it just go down to 6,000?
Motion carries 301.
He's reducing it to 6,000.
Got it, okay. So he's actually.
So the old
removing-
system's
He's
being.
reducing it
$6,035.
6,035, yep.
Because of legal issues,
didn't
it really
get
can't
that.
go away, but we're gonna reduce the cost year over year.
Thanks.
It'll go to zero at some point.
Books and code enforcement.
Code enforcement, line
670.
670, books and periodicals.
Can you give me the account number? I'm sorry, I don't have it memorized.
It's 104241.20.
No, I mean the folder, like what account, 431?
What line? 4241.20.
Got it, thanks. I just don't have it memorized.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got it up here on the screen.
Okay, line 670.
Yeah, books and periodicals. We feel that we can reduce this line from 1,500 to 300, which is a reduction of $1,200. There were a number of updates which required the purchase of a new set
Yep.
to be needed this year, and we got a good price, so we have gone ahead and been able to purchase what was needed out of the current budget. So we feel that we will not need as much next
Okay.
year.
Okay.
But now that this,
But you will need some next year.
We will need, that's why we're keeping
Okay.
the 3, yeah.
Okay, cool.
the state changes the codes every 3 years or so, or 2 years sometimes. Which section is the thing?
And I will note, there is a very important septic change
Ooh.
that is posted to the building department on our website.
And what is that?
People should really look at it, because if your septic system is, and you're gonna ask me the number of years.
Failure.
If it's older than a year and you're making additional additions to your
Uses.
property.
Expansion.
It's going to require
That's common.
permits.
That's common.
So it's a House bill that just passed.
Correct. And that, in that case there, you have to do a design to show that it can be increased. It doesn't mean you have to put it in until you get a failure, but you know it will substantiate that. Now, they've changed that, you're thinking, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, God, the state. Okay,
yeah. So it's also posted in the lobby at Town Hall.
good, I'll get a copy of that.
Replace mine.
So that's the reduction.
Mine's the 19th.
Zoning?
Just, you wanna make them together, a motion together?
Oh, no, I'm
or-
sorry, yeah, we need a motion to
I'll make
reduce code.
I'll make a motion to accept the code enforcement's recommendation to reduce line 670 by $1,200.
Motion for Mr. Brunel,
I'll second it.
second for Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
Okay.
Now zoning.
Zoning, 4195.
Yep.
It's line 555, public
Public
notices
notices.
and ads. We're reducing it 1,150, adjusting for prior year's spend. We just don't see the usage in this line item tracking to
Okay,
that extent.
understandable.
You know, should it change, then we'll have to make
But-
some adjustments within the budget, but it's certainly not gonna be to that extent.
Okay.
And we had quite a busy year with notices this year.
All right, we need a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to reduce the line item for the zoning board, the ZBA, public stuff, to $1,150.
You're reducing it 100.
Reduce 1,100,
150.
that's what you said.
Yeah.
Just went away.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Lynch and a second for Mr. Brunel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
There's a contest going on.
Are you ready? Road maintenance.
Road maintenance, road agent Brown felt that he's able to reduce the highway sand purchases.
Beautiful.
From 5,500, cutting it pretty much in half to 2,750. This is due because the old mixture that we were using required more sand. Now with the new mixture and the new chemicals that he's using, it requires much less sand. So that's the reason for the deduction.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Do we need a motion to reduce $2,750 from the highway?
I will make a motion that we reduce the road maintenance, line 685 to 2750.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Mr. Brunel and a second from Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
And the next one, I'm not sure really requires a motion by you folks or by the Board of Library Trustees, but
Yeah.
Vicky did let me know that she was able to acquire a filing cabinet at the old fire station, so she was reducing her budget by $440.
That's
So,
good. We don't need to vote on that.
no, I think it's the
No.
library
Yeah,
trustee.
that's their budget, yeah.
But I wanted to let you know. Board of Selectmen. So in the Board of Selectmen budget, we had included 2 lines.
Yep,
811, training,
yep.
and this was a line item we funded for $2,000. It was to fund board education, not necessarily the selectmen, but last year we had members of the zoning board, members of the budget committee, members from planning. These are trainings that come out. They may be the NHMA, they may be the state, they may be the Bureau of Economic Affairs. And we've made a conscious effort to find those trainings and offer them to new and existing committee members. Last year, we noticed we had no place within the budget to charge these. But these members wanted to take, and then one that was particularly important was the right to know training. So we had several members that needed to take the right to know training. So we put in the $2,000. I'm putting it out there to the board. You can reduce it, but then we'll be back to no line item in the budget for these items. And personally, I feel it's the town's responsibility
Yeah.
to train committee members.
What's the average cost for a session or a class for any of those types?
Great question. So, the right to know training was like 150, 100, depending if they do, so two different things. If they do it online, if they do it virtually, which I think a couple of members did, and then a couple of members went up. So I know, Selectman Gannon had actually gone, Laura Gandia had gone. I think that, it depends. If it's in person, it's like more like 150, and then they lower it to like, 90, 95, and they're all different depending on what agency is offering the training. If they do it virtually, it's generally less.
Best estimate, in your opinion, how many people take take any of the training during the course of the year?
I think about 4 or 5 years.
I think we had 5 last year. I would say this, if we make a conscious effort, which I have been trying to do, to find the trainings and let them know about the trainings, I think they are more than willing to take them. But it's very difficult for these committee members to be kept abreast of all the training. It's easier for me, I get the emails, directly from them. So I've been trying to share that, and I think if we share the information and especially new planning board members. So we had Mr. Medina join the planning board. I made a conscious effort to say, you should really go through these trainings. You've never sat on the planning board before. I think if we make that a habit within the town, not only are your boards and committees gonna be better informed and feel like they're stronger members, but it also takes some liability off of the town. You have a greater liability with the town if you have not provided training.
So how about we compromise and don't take it all away, just make it $1,000, cut it in half, that gives you enough room for 8 people, 9 people to take the average training. And encourage virtual, obviously, if you can. And let's leave it and see where it goes for next year. I think removing it totally puts the town at risk. I think the members need to get trained on certain aspects,
I agree with that.
so.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion on that. So I'll, Board of Selectmen budget, line 811, I'll reduce it by $1,000.
We have a motion from Mr. Brunel,
Second.
second from Ms. Queenan. Any discussion?
Again, it leaves $1,000 in that line, doesn't totally remove
Yeah.
it, and continue to encourage.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
I mean, if I can, I've been trying to take the training, get the slides and send them out. There was a training, at noon time today. Unfortunately, you know, my schedule doesn't always allow that to happen. The next line item, 620, office supplies, and it says boards and commissions again, because that was another thing that came up, was we were asked to get supplies, and there was no line item. So, examples this year are the community power, when we had to make copies and things, and we had education and public hearings, and we needed to advertise. Then economic development survey, we had quite a few items that we needed to purchase for that, and printing that needed to be done. And then the focus group. And then Heritage Commission needed signs ordered for the property at the horse farm. And we, again, had no line item. So it's all these boards and commissions that items arise that they need, and there's no line item within the budget to charge them.
So how much have we expended this year? We had nothing this year, right?
We had nothing.
We had nothing.
It came out of our,
How
We
much can you
came
put
out of our regular, some of it office supplies budget for the town, which caused that to be high. And then the heritage signs, I actually, took out of another line item. I think we need to track it.
yeah,
I think that's why it needs its own line item.
yeah.
I think this is another one, you could probably reduce it. I'll tell you, the heritage signs, we went a different route with those. We purchased signs that can be reused. So you can actually, it's like a dry erase, you can, except rain won't wash it. You can actually put the property and change the hearing date and all that, and reuse it over and over. They're stored in our closet at Town Hall. So those were a little bit more expensive than your $100 that you get at Staples, but we figured we'd save money and not having to reprint them, should we have another property.
Couldn't we recoup some of that cost based on permitting, the permit fees or anything like that? We charge fees, I mean, if someone's demoing a piece of property, it's probably for a bigger project. Could we adjust the planning board fees to cover the cost of materials? Or do we have enough in the planning board fees already, that's where the revenue comes in and offsets it anyway?
Why, in the permit or the planning, in the building permit phase, you can't do that.
Yeah.
They can't demo, let's say, they
Its own
can't
board.
demo
It is
the
its own
process too.
board.
No, they can demo without getting it, you can demo, you gotta get a
Yeah.
permit to demo, and then they pay a fee for that already.
So maybe the demo fee needs to be raised to cover the cost of the Heritage Commission.
I don't know what the fee
If
is.
it falls in that category. And maybe the fee structure is, if this is a building of historical, substance, this is the fee, and this fee costs the processing of a,
Has to meet something.
yeah.
Yeah, not everyone that needs a demo permit has to go through the heritage
Correct.
process.
But you're referencing costs that came out of that process.
Yeah,
And maybe we just have to adjust the fees to cover those, right?
You're gonna look
So
into
it's
that
net
one.
zero to what, net zero
And
to the taxpayer.
roughly how much did we spend last year, Kim, on this type of activity?
It was about 1,100.
Wasn't it?
Okay.
So why don't we cut that in half and
You
just
could.
reduce it 1,500?
I'm looking to
That seems like
see.
fair.
Yeah, because we don't want to strip it,
Karen, is a demo permit under,
Should be under
Plan?
building,
It's under
no,
building.
building.
yeah.
It has to be there by statute.
It
I didn't see
may
it
not
listed.
be
I don't
on
see it
there.
either.
Yeah, it may not be because it's $25 and they do like maybe once every few years.
Oh,
So it's not a significant amount.
It's
but-
not, yeah,
It's ridiculously low.
yeah, yeah.
But like I said, my suggestion is if it's
looking
something
at
that's
all
gotta
the
go through the
fees.
heritage process, maybe the fee needs to be something different.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if-
Swimming pool permit gets me.
if that's the case, then the board did raise
It's all about
those
setbacks.
fees this year. And so we raised the,
What's that?
budget for revenues, $10,000. So putting, 1,500 in the Board of Selectmen for supplies, it kind of is offsetting it. But I think it's
I think it is.
important to have something
Yeah.
in there because I think you're not going to have committees that don't need something, some
Yeah,
supplies
I
at some
think cutting it
point.
in half potentially this year and see where it rides. As you charge against it, we see where it runs,
Mhm.
what the demand is.
And again, it's only the committees, so like recreation has a
The budget.
budget. Conservation has a budget. These are committees that are under the Board of Selectmen, but we've given them no budget.
Yeah,
Like economic
Yeah,
yeah.
energy.
I'll go with cutting it.
And you paid the one-time fee for the signs. How much were the signs? It sounds like they were expensive.
they were 500?
I thought
So we
like
wouldn't
8.
hit that again,
I
right?
thought
We
8
paid it
something,
once,
but I could be wrong.
Is that political signs you're talking about?
Don't go there.
They're large, you can stop by town hall, I'll show you.
Okay.
But they're reusable, so,
They're plastic today and you can change them.
yeah.
So you spent high this year because you bought the signs.
You already bought it. You
And
can use them.
the economic development, I mean, we didn't have any of those sign holders, we didn't have any of the
rods.
supplies for the survey table at the annual meeting, which,
Well, if they go
was
around,
well
pick up
worth
the
the
political
money,
signs,
'cause
they
that
go around, pick
survey
up
was-
the illegal political signs, or other signs. You got all your stands for those signs you got in there. You pick them up, throw them away, they're in the right of way.
Those aren't the stands.
We've done that in the past,
So
I would say cut it and
go for it.
let's reduce it in half. Let's
Yep.
not reduce it in half.
Yep.
So I will make a motion that we reduce the Board of Selectmen's budget, line 620, office supplies, to $1,500. So reducing it in half.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mr. Brunel and a second from Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
And, let's see.
Telephones. Reduce the telephone budget.
Information technology.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So the first item, that's budget 4150. The first line item is line 341, telephone and data. And they're reducing the Verizon costs back to 19,680, which it was last year.
And just an explanation to get it, so when I did the budget, it was based on 6 months usage in average, and getting a few more months in it, it looks like it's gonna run exactly what it did last year, so I just removed the increase. Again, not a significant increase, but it was an increase either way.
All right, so we need a motion to reduce it to $240.
I'll make the motion to reduce it to $240.
Reduce it by $240.
Reduce it by, okay.
Line- line
God,
340.
keep trying to keep the index.
We have a motion from Mr. Lynch to reduce line 341, telephone and data by $240. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Ms. Queenan.
Having a
Thank you,
conflict.
I need a change.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstained.
Motion carries 301.
Next item is 6:30, equipment maintenance, reduce that 2,000, and I will ask, John to speak to it again.
Okay,
Good, John.
So it's the same reduction I did last year. I increased it back up because I believe I need to replace some batteries. As you know, batteries are pretty expensive, but when I went out to search for them, I was able to get them at a little bit lesser cost, plus I'm replacing one this year instead, so I reduced it by that, so,
Batteries,
yeah,
ridiculous things.
no kidding.
Unreal this year.
all right, so we need a motion to reduce line item 630 by $2,000.
I'll make the motion to reduce line 630 by $2,000.
We have a motion from Mr. Lynch,
I'll second.
second from Ms. Queen. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? John,
Okay.
you abstained?
Yes, sorry, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion carries 301. I kept waiting.
Sorry, I was
That's all
already
right.
drifted off.
How much have we got on that?
So I'm gonna ask Karen to double check me, but I think if
90-something, you
I
said?
adjusted it right, we just reduced it 92,770.
Trick?
Yeah, it looks right.
What was that last reduction?
we-
Was that $2,000?
We put,
Yeah,
left
2,000, line item 630.
yeah, we left 1,000 in there and we left 1,500 in there.
See what she did.
So I think that's right, but,
Yeah, it looks good.
okay.
She's shaking her head yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
So is that your last paragraph here? $95,270?
Yep,
And the writing in there?
and we did 92,770.
320?
So,
You got
that
extra.
was pretty good.
Oh,
So you got 92.
okay. I have
777.
92,323, so it's gotta be me.
So what did you end up with? 92 what?
92,770,
92,770?
and if Karen says yes, then
So
I
your
take that.
$500 difference. is what it
I'm
says,
gonna go
right?
over that, John, so,
500
so it was
delta.
99.
500 difference.
What?
What's that, Karen?
Well, if you do this. Karen,
Am I?
just take-
Yeah, it's going all the way down.
You can go up here, go here. Oh, no, you can.
So-
Oh, no, I can't, cause
Because
that
you have
has
the-
3847,
Oh, she's gonna
Yeah.
say
Double
that.
check,
Hang on.
so.
so
Yeah,
that,
that's what
But now you can do it this
I
way.
came, that's the number I came up with.
yeah, I did that, but.
So we
Did you take out
reduced
the
that
salaries total?
1,000, and we reduced
Because
that
there's no solid waste total
1,500.
line.
Yep,
Oh,
So instead of 5,000, that was only 2,500.
yeah,
95,270 minus
Which one was that?
1,000 will make it 94.
That was the Board of Selectmen
Minus
one.
1,500. 92.
Okay,
811,
yeah, we
16.
saved 1,000.
Yeah, it looks right.
yeah,
Yeah, on the office. Okay.
2,500,
So
yeah.
2,500 total, got it, 1,000 and 1,500.
Yeah, you got it all written down on the side.
Did you include the library in your thing, Kim? That might be what it is.
That's
I
what it
just saw
is.
you scroll by it, so.
That
Yeah,
was on my-
it is included in there.
Okay, so it is 93, two,
So another
So,
440.
Um,
It's $440.
yeah, 92,
yeah, the total reduction will be the 92,770 because she already reduced
Yeah,
it, the
okay.
440.
We're done.
So, yeah.
It's already-
Right.
it's already been, she did it already.
But by motions tonight, you are correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So then another topic that we thought we should talk about is, some purchases that IT and, the police department
Give it to you.
have realized that can probably be paid out of existing 2024 funds.
okay,
This
So-
is what we talked about right here.
These are contracted items, that generally come in. So there's
Wow.
$20,000 from, equipment
Equipment
purchase, which is, we would purchase the radios for the police department. we go ahead and make that out of the existing budget, which has some.
$20,000? Okay.
You did this, right?
So we need a motion to reduce the police budget, line 740.
It's actually, that's out of the IT budget, so.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's from the
yep.
IT budget.
This comes from the IT.
Yep,
So move that back to IT.
it is IT.
It is.
Oh,
Okay, so $20,000.
yeah,
So,
Is that the equipment purchase one?
yeah.
All right, want me to make a motion?
You can, I'll go second.
All right, I will make a motion to reduce, from the IT budget, line 740, for equipment purchases, to reduce it by $20,000.
A motion from Ms. Queenan,
Second by me.
second by Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
John.
Yes.
Motion carries 301.
John abstains.
All right.
And the next two
We
is.
have software support.
which is PD, in the PD budget, right? Jen?
Okay.
Yes, it is.
That's what it says there right there in the first place.
And that's the $56,218 for the software contract for the support
And the RMS is what?
of the old system.
New
Joe?
system.
The new system.
So this is, as Kid said, this is the new RMS system we just put in back in March.
Okay.
This would actually be the second year payment for services.
Okay,
So the company's allowing us to pay it in advance, obviously.
okay.
So we thought it was a good way to, again, it does kick the bucket, kick the problem down the road a little bit, but it does help us this year's budget, so.
Okay.
So I
Very good. So we need a motion to reduce, for that reduction, line 342, 56,218.
So the only thing I'm gonna caution a little bit
Okay,
is part of the problem that we're having this year is you take a position, we knew the gentleman was coming back,
Mhm.
it gets reduced, so now we have to fund it in the next year's budget, right?
yeah,
So the
Up and down.
the train of thinking with municipal budgeting is keeping it
Flat.
consistent and even.
yep,
So you reduce it, you kind of double your impact almost the next year
Mhm.
when you go to put it back in.
yep,
I realize this year we are in a dire straight position because legally we've got to get it below the cap. And even these cuts as recommended will not get us there. So that might be sometimes an item you have to look at, but I just want you to know that next year, that 56,218, if
Gonna
that's
come
what
back.
it is,
Yep.
will be back.
But this year, we're trying to get
It'll be
it done,
back.
next year we'll deal with it.
And so I understand you had money left over from 2024, so you're using that money.
Yeah, 2024 has, so it had positions that were
That's all
not
right.
filled.
And if I
it
can add a
had-
little color to it too, one of the reasons why the chief and I didn't think of it initially was we were hoping, and we were thinking kind of silly, that we could potentially use those to actually deal with the car issue. But as we started reviewing, well, no means no, even using General 4, it was, and it's just a lot of things lined up and said no. And this was one way to help us save some money. And it's a bill we're gonna have for the next 6-7 years, but again, we're trying to deal with the immediate issue. One thought I was thinking too, and I hadn't had this conversation with Kim yet, so I'm talking out loud unfortunately, but one thought was, is there any way we could potentially have a warrant this year to put a little bit money in my reserve with the idea that we use that money to offset it by half? Meaning raise the half of this amount so that in the following year it's only half and we're offsetting with the thing, and maybe go again the following year if the fund balance allows us to basically fund it half and half. That's all. And I
So
just thought about that was sitting here, so.
The IT, trust.
If we can, I wanna make sure the language will allow us to do that.
Yeah, let us look, I'm gonna look to Karen, cause I wasn't here during that. But Karen, do you remember what the language was? Did it specify any particular systems?
No,
No.
No, it definitely says IT technologies and then talk to, we used to buy fire alarm one year because the fire alarms blew up. So if we
Yeah.
can clarify, the question then is, we would need
So
to
you
put
could
some
take
money.
money from, unassigned if we have money left over, which I think we will. I mean, we had costs this year that we weren't expecting. But, we've been watching it closely.
Good.
If we have money left over, make a warrant article to put some money into the fund and, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good idea.
Yeah, just trying to deal with the, having the old 56 go back in 2026, that's a significant increase. Maybe suffer by this half, we'll only raise 26 and then take the other 26 out of that fund.
But ideally, that's what happened with the position, right? So you cut it roughly 60, I think, thousand, and now you have that come back, and so now we have to take it somewhere else, and
Yeah, and I'm suggesting let's raise, if we can, let's raise it and put it so it's already there. And maybe we just do it every year until
a
we
great idea.
get to an old point.
Makes sense. Let's go
How
planning.
much, what dollar value are you expecting on the warrant item?
I'm saying, it's, the cost is consistent for the life of the contract, which is 6 years.
Okay, so this, you're
Yeah.
talking about
So,
just this
yeah.
line.
I'm saying, take it, we would add a warrant article to add half that, with it being allocated for this service.
I thought it was
Right.
wide open.
so then you
I didn't
only
know it
have
was just
half
for
the
this.
impact.
There's money in that fund now, I haven't had to tap it. So, I just jinxed myself. Haven't had to tap it in a
If I
while,
call
so.
tomorrow and all the systems are down, we're gonna know it's strong.
That's me. So I'm just, because there is a point in time where we're gonna be looking at capital expenditures to refresh. There may be need to put more money in it to help offset that cost, but I don't think we're there, and I don't think we're gonna need that, but, again, I was just spitballing, so, again, I appreciate you guys willing to do this, I think this will help 2025, but I
Right.
also don't wanna see 2026 hurting us.
Okay.
So how much,
We're going down to that value?
$56,218 reduction,
But you may get it next year. like-
but it would be paid out of 2024 funds.
Great.
Right.
how much money do we have in the
Oh,
funds?
to the purchase and repair of technology.
Because we should be putting some money away into
Communication.
the unassigned fund balance, because we are dangerously
Well, we
low
have
there.
a
I'm
few
not,
of them, too.
I don't think
Few.
spending the whole
Oh,
of our
can we raise
leftovers is the thing to
appropriate,
do. Do we have enough to still make a substantial,
Purchase and repair
Yes,
of
because,
technology, communication.
especially, I wouldn't offer it with other departments. But police
Says
department
it's-
had some positions for, the beginning of the year that remained, unfilled. And their overtime, thankfully, and I'll give it to good leadership of the chief and the, captain.
I would agree.
Big change there.
They did an excellent job managing the overtime. So,
Yeah, because, I mean, my concern is, obviously something catastrophic happening, but also last week when
Yeah.
we had the auditor there, and she said we were at the lower end of that threshold where we want to be. So I'd like to see that get up to a healthier balance as well. And as long, Kim, as you feel safe, that we're not gonna deplete the overage, and we have some money to put in, I'm good with it.
yeah, like I said, we had some costs this year. Obviously, the CMCC contract and protecting the town with the PUC case,
Yep.
that we didn't expect, but we also saved in other areas, so, I feel comfortable. I do understand the auditor's concern, but we came out much better at the end of 2023 than we thought
Yeah.
as well.
Okay,
So
and that's a good thing.
that is a good thing.
Yeah, looks good, Bob.
I think
Well
it
done.
shows to good management of
Yeah.
the funds.
Well, I think also a lot of it is to do with Karen and yourself being very creative with our budgets. And I think the people in the town ought to be very appreciative of that. We've been very well, we've had it pretty tight since COVID, and, you know, our people here have done an outstanding job.
I agree.
of preparing the budgets and having the town run, you know, pretty seamlessly. So
I concur with
Thank you
that.
for that.
Well, I would,
I will
say it's
say
a
on the-
really great leadership team
I
that
will
has
say-
a really,
The year that I worked with the budgets and stuff like that, and seeing what's going on, I've seen a big change. It's all been good, okay? Since Kim and Karen are talking,
yeah.
same here, do. Okay.
Cool.
What
Okay,
will that mean?
Make a motion.
we can go ahead.
Don't go there.
Any more discussion? All right, I'll make a motion. This is the police department budget, line item 342,
Yes.
to reduce it
Tonight, then?
by $56,218 through software support.
You got it?
We have a motion from Ms. Queenan,
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Lynch. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
Abstain.
Right on that time. Motion carries 301. All right.
And the last one is kind of an interesting,
Mhm.
so 7:30, 6:30, line 630, equipment, maintenance and repair, repairs to, radio, and the communication
Which one? This
system.
is summary?
It's $500, the chief's more than happy to have it come out of the IT budget, it's already, I guess.
Oh, it does, I don't know where I see it now.
Budget.
So we'll reduce it from here and know that it gets charged to IT.
There goes the pizza party.
I'll buy the pizza.
All right, we need a motion to reduce.
I mean,
line
make a
630.
motion to reduce that line item to $500.
By 500.
By 500.
I don't know if I can vote for this one.
Motion, motion by Mr. Lynch,
Second.
second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained,
Abstain.
motion carries 301.
They can't see me anyhow.
Alright, so,
No one's watching.
if my formulas have worked correctly,
169,488.
then we just got down to 195,000 over the cap.
Yeah.
And,
No, 194,860.
yeah. And that only
Kim rounds up.
took 40 minutes, so, or
So we reduced it 160.
An hour?
I think we can take care of that $25 you need, never mind.
What was the total of those two deductions? The 95,270, right?
So,
Or 770?
It was 20,000.
that we were over the cap 364,
Yeah.
I think.
76,718 for the three of them.
Let me just see what we started. How far were we over the cap?
We were
194
364, 348 over.
We were 364, 347.
Now we're at
And then we had
190.
these two deductions here, were they
Yep.
matching what you said here?
So,
95,270?
this should be a,
76,718.
Got that one and this one, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and what does that leave us with?
Kim's math is right.
Yeah,
194,860,
190 what?
94,860.
Thank you.
Sorry, I could move this bigger, couldn't
I was double checking my math and I tripped.
I?
So we're over the cap by 200,000, roughly. Excuse me, 194.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, I mean, just to give you a little bit of update on some other items and, you know, thank you to,
Just under the
Chairman
summary.
Leary for making us look at this again this afternoon.
Sorry for the late notice. I don't know
No, no.
why I didn't do it earlier.
It was great. So last week, I think Selectmen, Brunel made the change to fire, so that's there. And then the other day, Mr. Mellon reran the calculations for C&D, for solid waste. And we realized that it was tracking differently. You know, it all depends on what months you look at, right? So when you're doing run rates, that's some of the challenge. So we reduced the budget almost $3,000, based on those run rates that were updated. So those two had already been done prior to tonight. Here's the one that we found this afternoon. Chief Jones and I were speaking when, Chair Leary mentioned open positions. And so we went to look at the police budget, and we noticed that the line for special officers said 400 hours at the rate, the hourly rate, and it should have been 200 hours. It's only one position that they're filling. So we made that correction right away, and that reduced it another 5,684. So those changes are already in the updated figures tonight, but we wouldn't have necessarily noticed that if Chair hadn't asked about unfilled positions. So unfilled positions within the town right now are one part-time officer in police department and two full-time.
But one of them's.
One of them is the SRO, right?
The
So
SRO.
someone could move to the SRO from the existing, or someone could be hired as the SRO, and then the other one is a full-time. He does have a candidate
That's what
that
that
is almost all the way through the process.
Very good.
So, and that's it, pretty much, we're at full staff,
Very good.
so. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna save any money, but you saved us $5,684.
Got saving.
How was that?
Yep.
What about the deputy tax collector? Is there something going on there?
We'll discuss
That's
that.
something else. I didn't know if that was
Personnel.
not about that, but just if it was a role that was something, we needed it or not, that was the
Ken, what
question.
am I forgetting?
I don't think.
I don't know.
The tax collector right now has 4 staff. I think she had, still have a 5th floater,
You're
but
talking about the treasurer.
No, I
No,
thought,
deputy
I
treasurer.
didn't know if we
Treasurer-
already needed
treasurer
this.
is a
I didn't know if
that's
there
a
would be
separate
overlap, was what I was questioning,
Oh,
the deputy
yeah,
tax
yeah.
collector.
Yep.
yeah, we have that already.
Yeah, the town clerk hired their last.
Yep.
So
Good
they're,
done.
they're full, building inspector, yeah, I mean,
You're close today, right, for 2 hours, 4 hours, right?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
they were closed,
So it's
today.
still 194,000 over.
Yeah.
But it's way better than 360.
Now-
It's a lot better.
I mean, my concern is that the easy route is to go to those cars. But the police chief at budget committee is going to talk about the cost of repairs.
Yeah.
And when you are making a repair of over $10,000 to one car,
Kills
you really better reevaluate your
Yeah.
process.
Yep.
So Kim, I have a question. I was reading one of the RSAs. I was trying to understand what we as a board, as a governing body can do in long-term contracts. Meaning, why can we not go out and buy 6 cruises now, get it on a payment schedule, and pay for it over 3 years? That was my reason for looking. And the way I read it, and I'm not a lawyer, obviously, it sounds like this board has the ability to go in these contracts without going to the voters for it, as long as it has that exit clause required. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it, I'm just curious, like, where,
In other words, they won't go up and block it over a period of time, you're gonna get a better price.
well, my concern is that the budget committee, which is their right, could go and say, well, we're gonna put the cars, we're taking them out, you have a choice, put them in the warrant again. We're back to where we were last year, the cars fail. And now we have a fleet that's even more aging, more costly, and we're not solving the problem. And I actually think in some cases it's becoming to be an emergency issue.
Right.
And this board's responsibility to the community is to make sure we have our public safety in place and able to respond. And I just don't think we're doing the right thing by just keep on pushing it and hoping for the best. You know, so again, I was reading the RSA's and I just don't understand it. The way I read it is like, we do. It doesn't say anything, but you have to go to voters to ratify or anything like, it didn't say that, and maybe I'm missing something.
So-
And I think I told you in the past, the board has done that.
Right, I think you wanna be careful of a couple things. There's what the RSA's allow, and then there's what the town has traditionally expected, right? So, at least while I've been here and from the history that I've seen, the leases have been, like the plow truck last year was put on the warrant.
Right.
The other thing is, I think you gotta be careful about default. Right? Because if the town voters were to give you a default budget,
It wouldn't be in there.
that wouldn't be in there. And you could get caught that way, unless it was approved on a warrant, because then you're safe.
Prior to.
So I think there's that.
But if it's in the operating budget, if it passes the operating budget, indeed, let's say this year, operating budget passes, hopefully, please let it pass. It passes with the, say, we put a lease in it.
Yep,
We go into 2026. By intent, the voters already voted on the operating budget, which they understood the lease was part of it. They're okay, and now we continue going forward. And to me, that's the better way forward for this department to maintain those assets. And to go into these revolving leases where they're just constantly revolving cards out and in and out, and having that cost be consistent across the board all the time.
so if you placed it in the 2025 budget, the lease payment, and you had a default in 2026, they gave you the default, it was already in your 2025, that's what, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a lawyer either, but I think certainly most, lawyers are gonna say that you should go to a warrant article with any large expenditure, which ultimately binds, they kinda look at it this way. If you are binding another board into a cost, it should really be determined by the legislative body, right?
Well,
So,
the cruises were in the budget.
All of
They've always been in the budget, and they
Yeah.
get down.
We pulled them out of COVID, yeah.
But, yeah, we pulled them out of COVID because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
We couldn't get cars anyway, and now we're
Yes.
paying for it ever since.
Yeah.
And
We have to
by
figure out
that
how to get
same
it back.
logic in my mind, again, I'm not a lawyer and I don't understand it, but that means employment contracts should go to the voters too. You're now binding this board to an employment contract. Right?
yeah, except, yeah, it's a good question. And I'll certainly,
Some clarification on that.
maybe on the
Yeah,
airplane
yeah,
tomorrow, I'll
yeah.
get some,
There's some too much thinking about it, huh?
yeah, I'm gonna get some, clarity on the issue, because with an employment contract, so I specifically asked, legal about the unaffiliated, about the salary, study. And they said that the Board of Selectmen have control of those salaries. It's, not the budget committee, it's not the legislative body, it's the board, because you are the employer. And you've never taken, that I've seen, a contract for the police chief or the town administrator, or the IT director to warrant. But it is a contract. And you're
Well, when we
legally
did
obligated.
hire the first administrator, it did go to vote.
Because it was a new
Voted,
position
yeah,
altogether,
correct.
right?
It was a new position,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. That would make
yeah,
sense.
yeah. But
Yeah, I
Let
think,
me, look and see if I can get more clarity to the subject.
good question,
And I'm
John.
not trying
It
to
is a
skirt
good-
anything, I'm just, we're stuck in a rock and a hard place. And so
You are.
The other question is there a way to position two warrants that don't contradict themselves? Meaning, can we do a warrant that says, could we, go into, say we're gonna go into a lease rental program or leasing program where we do our car plan, and it's laid out. If you agree, yes, and that gives us the authority to do it, we can negotiate the next purchase under a lease agreement and hopefully figure out the pricing, but.
Right.
I'm just right, because we can't wait another year. If for whatever reason, God forbid if it does, it gets pulled out of the budget, it's in warrant, we have all 3 cars in now warrant.
Yeah.
That's 2/3 of our fleet that we can't replace.
Yeah.
And, what do we do? At that point, I mean, again, the board, back in 2011, whatever it was, made a drastic decision to go buy 4 new cruisers under lease. Now, they were supposed to continue that program, and things, they were doing really well, now the problems happened, and it just never got carried
Right.
forward. And we had some leadership changes too, but we gotta do something to fix it. It's not like the fire station, and not they buy a big vehicle, it lasts 30 years. We have these vehicles that are floating out all the time, and it's a big expense if we don't do the right thing.
Yeah, and I think the difference, so, I think people think lease. A municipal lease is not like.
Yeah, it's
not like a private lease, you're not, going out and paying X amount of money and giving the car back at the end.
No, you own it.
You own it, it's like the plow, that we did last year, so,
Are we expecting big warrant articles this year?
Probably gonna, I don't know.
Probably not the school this year, I don't know, but I'm just, the public knows we have 2 working cars.
Yeah.
The public wants to be safe. They want the police safe.
I think we should have at least
The
one of
goodwill's
these in the
there.
budget. I think one of them should remain in the budget no matter what.
yeah.
And get it in there and keep a line item in there and have it there. And then, like I said, with the old chief, when we went to the Tahoes, the idea was to buy one every year. And you cycle them out after 5 years.
But the issue with the COVID,
Yep.
it took it out.
Yeah, and then it got taken out, so, but I still think that's the proper way to go, to at least keep one in there. We may need to do a warrant article for the first year, because for a second or a third one, because we're in that kind of
Catching up.
position, but I don't think we should pull the last one out,
But if you look at the budget,
no matter what.
the unfortunate part is that's probably the easiest thing they can pull out.
Well,
Because their argument's gonna be, people are gonna wanna pay for it because we need it. Well, we saw it one flame out last year,
yes,
it was only one.
yeah,
Yep.
and I'll make this argument again in front of the budget committee, but
Well, and I'm
I may
gonna,
lose again, but.
I'm gonna hate myself for this, I'm sure, but, the problem is reducing the budget to vote for warrant articles.
Yep,
That's what ultimately leads us to this situation.
yep,
So, legal has said, because I have asked, you cannot put it on the warrant that the budget committee, approved the warrant article. But there's nothing preventing the budget committee from saying, when they speak, or at public hearings, or at meetings, or in minutes, or whatever, that they legally couldn't approve it, and I've heard the chair do that.
I've seen.
Reducing the budget for the health agencies warrant article, that's crippling to us, that's just crippling, let the voters vote on it.
Yeah, I think and I know the budget committee knows this, but let the voters vote. I mean, I understand we put the recommendations on the warrant, and maybe we shouldn't. The warrant shouldn't have our recommendations on it. That we presented it deliberative, we have our presentation while we're asking for it, we broadcast it out there, we just don't carry it on the warrant.
As far as I know, you'd have to have a warrant to take the
I
recommendations
know,
off the warrant.
I know.
Yeah, no, I think it should be on there. I think our recommendation should stay on there.
Right,
I think
with
the
that.
people look at that.
But I think the problem is what we're in right now, the tax cap has created this issue where this board and the budget committee can't agree. On paper, this is something we need. They can say they want to approve it, but they can't because of the tax cap. And there's no way to note that on the warrant that says they actually agree with it, but due to tax cap, if they could do that, that'd be awesome, but we can't do that. So people think, well, there's a conflict, they must be, the budget committee, the board of selectmen must be doing something squirrely and they don't agree with it financially, so no. And I understand that, you're going to bed with not, if you don't follow the meetings, I understand what we're trying to do. This has gotta be a better way.
Maybe when we send out the voting guide, we add a flyer with it stating, certain things had to be pulled out by the budget committee so that they could fulfill their obligation.
But is that not
The
electioneering
selectmen
and we can't do
strongly
that? Oh.
recommend, and,
I mean, I think they can do it at their budget hearing. I think the
Let's
two
be-
that I've been to haven't been well attended. I think the people that have been in the audience are the people that know.
well, it's usually an item that's a bit of a hot button for people, and you see it on the school side as well.
Happens a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the public participation in these meetings and or budget hearings is small, and so we have to figure out how to get our message out. And certainly, if we get the warrant out, and if we're okay with it, we'll start plastering social media why it's important, why it needs it, and get the attention out there. It's still a risk, right?
Yeah.
Because no means no, and if all 3 cars fail on a warrant this year, we're gonna be a world report.
Or big trouble.
Right, and my understanding is this board still can go against no means no if it's a
Safety
if it's a safety issue to the community. Right, if it's not in the best interest of the community, but we'd have to be all in agreement
It's
to
a
go fight
slippery
that.
slope.
I understand that,
Well, it
but
is, but you gotta use certain funds that's appropriate in cases of emergencies.
my point,
That's the only way we can do it.
we don't have funds to do that though, so.
That's my point.
Again, I'm not trying to
And
say
then if
do
it
something
gets
we're-
challenged, you're paying legal costs
Right.
in
As well.
Superior Court to
Yeah.
fight it. So,
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, I would invite anybody to come on down, knock on the front door of the police department, and ask to see the cruisers. Don't go walking around snow by yourself, because it does say do not enter.
Don't sit in the cars.
yeah,
There's a
You know, these cars are a lot, there's 2 new cars out there. So people see those, because those are the ones that are riding around heavily now, because those are the ones that are only running, which also puts a lot of wear and tear on those cars.
Yes.
too
So,
much,
right.
right, yeah,
So-
and, I mean, and believe me, I'm very thankful for the expertise we have from,
Yeah.
the auto services here in town, but when you're paying the fees and the costs of repairs,
It adds up.
you're just throwing, bad money after
So
bad.
this is so I'm looking at one item here about the uniforms being worn, $21,000, right? For police, I think. So that's a decision. Do we have them wear uniforms that are tattered or get a car? That's where we're at, right?
Yep.
It's unfortunate. So I like your
Well-
idea of the safety net, one in the budget,
one
and
in
get
the budget,
something. I'm gonna quote Carrie Douglas, not exactly, but putting money aside. Maybe a warrant article can be 20,000 a year going into some fund
Expendable
for
trust.
this. Plus ask for a car as well.
Yeah,
Ask for a car, put it in, but you wanna put for the future expendable costs.
So we have a
Yeah,
fund for
that means you're gonna
repairs,
have
but
a
we
car in
don't
the
have a fund
budget, a car on the warrant,
But
and
it's-
then an expendable transfer fund request.
You got it.
Say that again? What is that?
You're gonna have a car in the budget, a car in the warrant, or 2 cars in the warrant, and then an expendable trust fund request.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, that could be a little on the confusing side, but I think it makes sense to start figuring out getting at least 1 car in that transport revolving fund and keep on trying to fund it to be able to do this on a regular basis.
And if they said no, we might have half the money already saved.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, is Carrie Douglas happy out there?
I
She's
mean,
been saying this for years.
Yeah, but see, but the same thing is
I'll find out next week.
going into a municipal leasing program where cars are being cycled on a regular basis and the cost is consistent,
That's
is
what
also
I'm
the
saying.
same thing that Kerry Douglas
Yes.
asked for. Keep the cost consistent.
yeah,
I can get behind that. So, I don't know what it would cost to have 3 cars in a rotational leasing program or, municipal rental, what do you wanna call it, funding program. But maybe that's the way to do it, and this way the costs are, maybe it's $70,000 a year for the rest of our lives, but that means we're getting 3 cars front and we're rotating out 1 and rotating there so all of our 6s constantly being re-rotated every 3 to 4 years.
yeah. And I give a lot of credit to Chief Jones, who's been doing a lot of research on this, talking to you know, a multitude of different agencies. We're not the only municipality to have this issue. And you never know from one maker to another. Sometimes a certain make and model have issues.
Yeah.
You just never know. I mean, these are vehicles that are used for,
They're used all the time.
yeah, they're idling all the time. Yeah, so
Yep, so,
that,
all right.
Where am I now? Get out.
I wish I had more for you. And I'm concerned that once, you know, next Thursday, I should find out more about health insurance at the public hearing. We don't have Primex. I can give more of a public update now on Pennachuck because obviously it was in a public meeting, last week in Nashua. You know, some of the concern with the new rates, at least by the Board of Aldermen in Nashua, is it will reduce the average homeowner that has normal water usage. But when you have a multifamily with 1 meter, which many of them do, they're gonna have much higher usage, and there's no way to estimate that out. They're just gonna have a much higher cost because the cost is tiered upon your usage. So ultimately, the board sent Pennachuck back to the drawing board, to kind of figure out a way to handle that. That's not a Litchfield issue so much as it is, even Londonderry has a lot of large apartment buildings and things
With
of
1
that
meter.
sort. So it's an issue for them as well. Those apartment buildings might have meters by building, but they're not metered by apartment.
Correct. 99% of your multifamily that's being built now, they're not, if they're condos, there's a separate meter for that. If it's a multifamily building, it's rental, there's 1 meter. The rent takes care of the extra cost, whatever that may be. Okay, that comes on with stuff like that. But if we get into condos, you can meter separately, each unit, and they have to pay, because it's an ownership situation. When you get into multifamily buildings that are rental, there's 1 meter 99% of the time. If they wish to convert that to a different type of subdivided out, let's say, for condominiums, then they're gonna have to upgrade the metering system, because they're gonna end up paying more, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
other thing that the city was looking at, which doesn't necessarily show true for Litchfield, just because of our water usage.
Correct.
Our water usage is pretty low at
Yep.
municipal buildings within
There's nothing there.
Litchfield, but at the city, it's a lot higher.
The occupancy load is higher.
And so it would have added, I think they said almost 150,000 to their municipal water bills. So they weren't in favor of that. So Pennachuck has some work to do. I believe they're asking for an extension, or a change to the procedural schedule at the PUC, which might mean that our water rates aren't final until December.
Oh,
Good.
Well, it just causes more budget issues down the road.
Something to think about.
Because no matter how much we do sit and get the cap down.
The hydrants,
they'll come up again.
She left the other part.
Yeah, so the
Don't talk
hydrant,
about the hydrants, don't talk about it.
the hydrant charge would be higher. Your municipal water rate would be lower, and they explained this at the public meeting in
But
Nashua.
that's,
Your homeowner's bill would be lower,
yeah, but we'd be paying more hydrant water.
but we'd be paying more for the hydrants.
so they're paying anyways.
Yes,
because you're gonna come out of your tax
It's
bill.
gonna come out of your tax
house
bill.
So,
Well, you have a fire, you can afford it. Sounds wrong, but, you know, you got a hydrant there.
So are we gonna move to other lines, look at other areas that we as a board can reduce? I mean,
I've looked a little bit, I haven't seen much.
I haven't either,
I
I
haven't
just,
seen
I just wanna make, I
you've
wanna.
got them,
I don't have it, I've looked at the budget, I've talked to a lot of department heads, I don't see any place where I could comfortably do it.
Yep. Let me see.
Well, I just have two though. if I
Oh,
can.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely,
Sure.
Investigate it, go back
Let's
and
go.
ask them.
okay.
And again, the uniform one, 40.
Isn't that by contract
Yeah.
though?
4210?
That's
So
by
that-
contract.
That's in the contract, yeah.
That's in the contract.
Oh, that's a contract, never mind.
Strike
That
that
is, okay, well, you got a lot of, I'm not sure about the sign-on bonus, do we still need that? Are we already?
It's in their
have enough
contract.
that's in their
hired?
contract.
That's in the contract. All right, so that was the two I had.
Well,
What about the
Is there
13?
sign-on
You
bonus in
had
the
$5,000,
Or it's an
right?
agreement between
You
the
went from
board.
2.6 to
No, I think
5,000.
it's in there.
Is it?
Did you do the 13 one?
We can look at the
The
contract.
degree is.
Look at the
the
The bonus,
contract.
yeah, but the
Uniforms?
sign-on bonus. I think-
We'll look
Sign-on
at,
bonus.
Uniforms and sign-on
I
bonus.
I think it was an agreement
Two
with the
more.
board.
Yeah,
Just to check the sign-on bonus amount, because we,
So sign-on bonus, what I recall is, it's not in the union contract, it's because we need to attract candidates.
Retracts, okay.
And no way, every other town is doing a sign-on bonus,
Yeah.
and if we don't do it, we don't get anybody to respond.
but how many more do we still have to hire? That was my
Well,
question.
there's two more open positions, so let's assume
And
two
how
more,
many have we
two more
finished?
bonuses.
How many did we hire this year total? It's a big list.
I bet.
Well, they have to be
So I'm just saying, check
certified
the
to
value.
get.
Yeah,
If
they
it's
have
only
to-
two people, just prorate
But they
it
have to be
the-
certified to get that.
yeah,
Okay, I'm just saying, look at
Can't
it
be
to
going
see
to
the number of
academy.
people you expect
Yeah.
that would get it.
Mhm.
The uniform one, I wasn't sure, and again, I hate that they have to wear uniforms that are worn, I hate that, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's, but that's part of
21,000.
their contract though.
And the emergency management
wore
CERT
clothes.
team,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it went from 2,600 to 5,000? I don't know if that was a one-time.
so, no, they cut it, the budget committee cut it last year,
Oh,
They put it
okay.
back.
and we're putting it back.
Okay, now I explains why it went up, all right. I just remember the policy for the parades and everybody was getting certified. I don't know if that was gonna, if that was a one-time certification.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Does anyone have
that's all I had, and
any other items? I didn't see.
I have nothing. I was looking at this already.
No.
I wanna thank all the departments for doing what they've done and
Okay.
trying. you know, so I think
All we
we-
can do is try.
yeah, I think we've done fairly well to get this to where it is now.
You go home and look at this on a computer, you sleep better.
You know, I think, conservation's tiny budget,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't have anything. Parks and Rec, again, tiny budget, they didn't have anything.
again, most of what our budget is personnel.
That's right.
And contracted. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's not a lot of areas you can cut.
And I know people talk about, grants and things, and I've had residents say, well, you need to apply for more grants.
We do,
Grants don't cover operating costs,
but we apply for grants.
but, I mean, we got that new truck
You know?
this year, right? I mean, that was great. We're gonna go for another one this spring. You can get equipment, you can get things like that, but general operating costs, you're just not gonna find those.
and some of those grants want 20% from the town.
Right,
It's not always
Match,
100%,
yeah.
they sometimes want to match.
last year, I think we did an excellent job.
Yeah.
We absorbed those healthcare rates by, doing a redesign, and the employees took a little higher cost out of their pocket. This year, we just don't have those things.
They're so small.
Yeah.
Mine.
So how much are we over, still about 190?
About 195.
Yep.
So, I mean,
So just
got
prorate,
195, yeah.
the
Yeah.
sign-on bonus,
194,
if it's only two more
816.
people,
Correct.
just make sure that was for two, not
Okay.
five.
Yeah.
That kind of
195.
small tweak, but.
Add interest and taxes to it.
No, I think we're good. I think we're good now. I feel a lot better about it.
Yeah,
I'll still catch heat, but that's okay.
Yeah, but you can paint it down.
yeah, so they've only got one in there and we've got one more to hire,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah, just one left.
I think that is,
That's correct.
yeah. So the reason I had these highlighted is just so that, I could explain,
Mhm,
this is where we caught that,
mhm.
error. And then these are the open positions, just to answer the question earlier. But, we will go through, update the selectmen proposed and send it over, to the chair.
Okay.
And,
Scan stuff into this.
you know, next week, next Thursday night, we have the first group of, departments that are presenting. The budget committee did, I spoke with the chair, and he did say that this schedule was fine.
Okay.
So I have sent it out to the department heads again, to let them know
Yep.
who's presenting next, next week. I think it's not gonna open for me. I guess it won't. I think it's, just a few that are presenting next week. And then, like I said, until we have more information, we don't have the utility assessments yet. I expected to have them by the end of the week. And so we'll see how that is, but, thanks to the development in town, we've got some good growth,
Good.
which always helps offset.
Okay, very good. That- Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right. So, that will end this portion of our meeting, special budget meeting. So, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn?
We have a motion from Mr. Lynch,
Second.
second from Mr. Brunel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 400. We are adjourned at 7:12 PM. We will be, next meeting is the Monday, the 23rd.
Yes, and, Karen will be filling in,
Oh, thank you.
and,
Good boy, Karen.
you do have the chair